Welcome back
Welcome
to Am I the Asshole?
to Asshole the Am I.
Am I in a new place? Yes, we are, as you can see. Hey. Yes. If you didn't see the podcast and your first time seeing us is this episode right here, we are in our new digs. So yes, new format, new TLS.
We made it.
Still same lousy fucking takes from two lousy dudes.
Yeah, you're.
But we're here.
Not
we're
wrong
here
on that.
and we're having a good time. So
Yep.
Very excited to get into this as it being our very first one in our new setup. So we'll take no time at all because I definitely want to jump right in. So as always,
Dive.
subscribe.
Dive
Right in to the lousy
Splash.
pool. Might be some pee in there.
Definitely some pee. Little poo nugget there at the bottom. Or is it a Snickers? You never know until you try it.
Ew. Ew. No, thank you. Just subscribe. If you want to join the Lousy members, $2.99, hit the join button. You'll see the cool perks. Ew. I'm thrown off by that. Good God. All right, Sam.
Yes.
We didn't think about this, and I don't know how we're going to do this, but we're going to figure it out. We usually are in person when we do this.
Yep. I don't think there's enough of a delay. I think we can do it virtually, you know?
Let's find out.
Hey.
So I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, I'm up. But you're on a streak right now.
I think I have 2 in a row.
I think 3 actually.
Oh. I haven't been getting my hopes
streak.
up because, you know, shit happens.
But let's see if I can take you down here.
Yep.
All right, ready?
I'm ready, I think.
Okay.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Hey! I unfortunately can't actually cover his hand like I used to be able to, but, you know.
You have taken my power. What is that? I
Yes, I have.
Well, okay. This is kind of awkward.
So anyway, we are. I guess we never talked about what we're actually talking about.
Oh my God, we haven't. We haven't.
No,
talked
we
about
are
it
a
at
lousy
all.
show, so fortunately we've got an excuse. But
yeah, that is our only ace in the hole is that we're a lousy show.
yeah, God, we really clutched up with the name of this show.
Honestly,
yeah,
100%. So the topic is actually something that follows along with our podcast from Tuesday.
Yeah.
And that is, if you didn't get a chance to watch it, definitely go recommend watching it. We actually talk about our entire trip to our new places, all the trials and tribulations we've had to face so far. I mean, I would say it's a really good episode. So definitely go watch it or go listen to it if you're on a listening site. But it's all about road trips. Today is all about road trips, as much as we took our road trips to get to our new homes. Today is
goddamn.
No kidding. Today is all about road trips. We have 4 stories keyed up as always. So
That part has not changed. So.
That has not changed.
No. Are you good?
Just had the shit scared out of me. So I don't think the recording picked it up.
Oh.
And if it didn't, that's a shame. You're just going to see me just freeze for a moment.
That's what I saw. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? I just see this like.
But no, so what just happened is everybody knows I stream. It's no secret at this point. And I'm using my OBS to record, and I forgot that I get notified when someone resubs. And if you have automatic resubs turned on, it just hits. And one just came through. So the breakdown to the Hellfire by Lorna Shore, swallowed by the womb of death, just went off very loud, mind you, in my ears. So that's all I was like,
I might recommend maybe create another profile for the future, you know, just in case. But anyway, 4 stories keyed up, all about road trips. I'm starting because Joe can't do rock, paper, scissors anymore. Let's get started.
Yeah, let's go.
Am I the asshole for purposefully not planning a meal during a road trip, leading my friends to quote unquote starve to death? I recently went on a long haul trip with 2 other friends, Jessica and Stanley. In our normal day-to-day hangouts, I've always been the quote unquote planner, i.e. picking the place, making reservations, splitting bills, etc. I usually don't mind because my friends are better in other areas of friendship, so I never felt like it was unequal. Jessica and Stanley invited me on a long-haul trip, about 20 hours of driving, to see Stanley's family, and I thought it would be fun. Before agreeing, though, I did tell them very straightforwardly that I did not want to plan the trip. I'm okay with planning where to get cocktails on a Saturday night, but I didn't want to be responsible for 2 other adults on a 20-hour road trip. That's a long-ass road trip. On day 1,
long road trip.
They immediately asked me what was for lunch. I told them I had no idea because we didn't plan anything. They seemed shocked, but didn't say anything, and we ended up stopping at a random rest stop by chance, so it worked out. During lunch, though, they asked where we were going for dinner. Once again, I said I had no idea. Jessica laughed and said, no, really, where are we eating? I once again reaffirmed that I had no idea. We started driving, and I feel like they purposefully planned my leg during dinner time, but I decided to be, plan my leg during dinner time. But I decided to be stubborn, and I just kept driving and driving until Stanley complained about being hungry. I said, cool, he could look up somewhere to eat, and that's when we all started arguing. They said that it wasn't fair for me to quote-unquote spring the responsibility of planning meals on them when the trip started. I told them that I was pretty straightforward before we even left, and that they were sitting in the car for 5 hours doing nothing, so why couldn't they look stuff up on their phone? Now they say that I was being an asshole for not saying anything and just driving through dinner time because causing them to starve to death so I could prove a point. I told them that we still ended up getting fast food, so they were being a bit dramatic. The fight's pretty bad, though, to the point where I'm about to rent a separate car to drive home. So I wanted to check if I was an asshole before I make it worse. Ooh.
Okay. I have a couple thoughts here.
Okay.
Thought number 1 is, why all of a sudden the switch up? Like, you say at the beginning of this, in our normal day-to-day hangouts, I've always been the planner, picking the place, making the reservations, so on and so forth. I usually don't mind because my friends are better in other areas of friendship, so I never felt like it was unequal. Then you got invited on a road trip, but you told them, you know, that you didn't want to plan the trip. Like, why all of a sudden the switch? You see what I'm saying? Like, if you say up front that you enjoy that, and that you know that's what your like friend, you know, task is, so to speak, why the switch up?
Although she didn't say that, or I'm assuming I'm sorry, they didn't say that they enjoy doing it. They just say, I usually don't mind because my friends are better in other areas of friendship. So it's not like their entire personality is as a planner.
Well, they say they've always been the planner.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you know that's the case, why the sudden switch up is what I'm saying. Because to me, it seems like that's been the status quo of the friendship based on this, and that you knew that was a status quo, that you were the planner, and then all of a sudden, for some reason, this one time you're like, nope, don't want to do it. And now all of a sudden, you know, here we are on the trip. You tell them straightforward that you didn't want to plan the trip, but where did that conversation end? Like, did that conversation end with them assuming you were still planning it? Did that conversation end with you reaffirming that you weren't planning anything? Where did that conversation, like, we're missing that chunk, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because the ending of that conversation tells so much for the rest of the story. If that conversation that you had with them before you left ended with, hey, I'm just letting you know, I don't want to plan anything for this trip. I appreciate the invite. I'd much rather just be able to go. I'll drive shifts. I'll do all that. But I'm trying to just enjoy the ride. Or did the conversation end with, I'll plan where we get cocktails. I'll plan so on and so forth. Not a big deal. Which might have been misconstrued as, hey, I'll plan where we eat.
Yeah.
That is my consensus here. And because of that, it feels like, based on how they acted, it feels like the two friends were in the same mode as their friendship's always been, where they knew that OP is the planner and that's still how this is going. And that conversation had to have ended in some way of them assuming, I say assuming, but understanding that OP was still planning stuff. I'm going to say asshole, because if you know your role in a friend group, like for me and you, I feel like we have our roles, like at least before we go. Like if like for instance, when we went to concerts in Austin, you didn't want to drive downtown. You made it very clear, I don't want to drive. Okay, I'm driving. Not a big deal. I got you. Like like in that simple scenario, we know whose role is what. Yeah. You're going to be riding shotgun and playing the music. I'm going to be driving. Don't fuck up the aux. Like, you know, that's that very, very minimalistic, but that's the point I'm getting at, is like, we knew those roles. Yeah. I just feel like there's a part of this missing, and I'm going to have to go asshole because of that.
Okay. I mean, I think for me personally, I agree with a lot of what you say. The only difference being that they stated that they didn't want to plan it, which in my eyes would be more of like a, okay, I'm not planning anything. You know, I'm just along for the ride. I think the cocktail thing was more of an example for the post. I doubt that part of the conversation actually happened. I think it was just overall a lack of communication across the board. Sure. And so for me, it's going to be an everyone sucks. I think just like nobody really stepped up to any plate. You know, Jessica and Stanley invited them on a road trip. OP said, hey, I don't want to plan this event. You know, like normally they plan like a night out, but not a 20-hour, or a road trip. And so, but I don't think anybody from there decided what needed to happen. So I think just from there, just kind of like they ended up going in a car and just going in a direction, being like, all right, we'll figure it out on the way. So, yeah. I think for me, it's an everyone sucks in that scenario.
I can definitely agree to disagree. I think for me, part of what's really leaning me towards asshole is the fact that there's a part of this missing.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Definitely. We need some more context for sure. But based off the context we have, that's why I'm saying everyone sucks.
Yeah. And I can definitely see that. I just feel like without that without the actual conclusion of what that conversation was, I have to go asshole for me, because it just feels like OP purposefully left that out and jumped into, okay, now we're on day one of the trip, and making it seem like, hey, I told them I wasn't wanting to, and now they're assuming. Like, no, what was the conclusion to your conversation? Like, what? Because I feel like if you gave us a conclusion, it was honest about it, people are going to actually realize, oh, so you didn't reaffirm. You just kind of gently nudged them, thinking they would take that, when the status quo of your entire friendship, whenever y'all go out, has been, hey, I'm the planner. Like, you see? So that's where I'm going. But everyone went with you here and said, everyone sucks.
Everyone sucks. Yep.
Let's read some of these comments, because I'm genuinely curious as to where people went with this. I feel like we're gonna see some interesting ones here.
Yeah, this first one is really kind of intriguing to me. So, do people really plan every meal break on a road trip? I've always been more of a it's close to mealtime, what's at this exit type of person. Usually if it's let's try to get to our destination as quickly as possible, it's not like a let's Yelp the local cuisine around exit 30 for some hidden gems. Like this all seems kind of childish from everyone sucks here. And so that's kind of like, that's a lot of what I'm thinking. Actually, they've worded it very well there, is like, and that's exactly what we did on our road trip. We didn't plan, like, and my wife is very type A. Like, you know, she's very much the planner. She normally plans out everything that we do. For the road trip though, she was following me. And I was like, we're just going to figure it out as we go. We'll get food as we go to try to keep it kind of nimble and quick. And she was totally fine with that. And so we just got, like, we got Loves actually has a really good fucking chicken sandwich.
Yes.
It's fucking banging. I shat myself probably, but it was really good. And
no, Loves is heat. I found that out. Low key.
It was a combo. It was a chicken sandwich and potato wedges. The guy didn't even charge me for the potato wedges. And I was like, this is dope. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, your camera is frozen for me.
Well, a good thing my recording camera is not.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So that part
Discord out here
much,
being Discord.
Just figured, you know, I want to see.
Yeah.
I want to see your beautiful face.
That's fair.
But yeah, so and then
that's why when we record, we come up with different ways to record to make sure we're clean and pristine for y'all.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Wait, do you have two angles recording right now?
No. I'm my monitor's over there. My camera's right there.
Okay, gotcha. That makes more sense.
You were sweating. You were like,
yeah. I was like,
no.
I only have one.
No, I can see that. I can see that for sure. And I mean, we didn't plan where we were eating either.
Yeah.
The only thing we planned was where we were staying night one, because we needed somewhere to sleep. Like the next day we ended up, I think, eating Whataburger for lunch, because we left, like, we actually hit the road around brunch time and we were like, whatever, and then we had Loves for lunch, basically, like late lunch, because we knew that we were getting here, and shout out to my buddy who bought us dinner night one. Like, we didn't have to worry about that. But
nice.
I totally understand, like, not planning where you're gonna eat. Usually it's okay, what's this road sign up here say? Oh, there's a McDonald's, cool, let's hit that.
Yeah.
Let's get a couple of gangbangs and call it a day.
Yep.
Their edit though was, OP said they were being stubborn when just looking for signs and billboards is no effort. The friends could have looked up on their phones, but there is a difference between the OP refusing to plan fine and actively not just looking for possible signs and saying, you guys want to stop at X in 4 miles. If you drive during dinner time, it's not crazy to point out locations. That is actually a very good point. Yeah. Is like, from the story, OP just straight up was like, okay, y'all find somewhere to eat. Like, you telling me you couldn't see a road sign? Like, yo, there's a Denny's up here. What the fuck is up, Denny's? Like,
to me, I'm about to break down this fucking Denny's.
About to fucking, what the fuck? But no, I think this is a good point here. The edit definitely brings it together. I think that this post actually brings together both of our ideas both of our points very well.
Yeah.
But this next one is quite interesting. Not the asshole. This was now, right? 2023 now. So this was a year ago. Not like 1985. Not the asshole. Husband and I go on weekend trips all the time. We give 20-minute warnings. Hey, we need gas in the next 20 or so. Can you find a station? Getting hungry? Let's look up someplace in the next 30 or so. Whoever's driving, drives. Whoever's not, searches. Not at all sure why this is even a discussion. That's also a very valid point. I think that's actually a very valid point.
Mm-hmm.
I still think that goes along the lines of what the first comment said, though, was like, all right, even still, you couldn't look at a road sign.
Yeah. I mean, because like, it's not exactly unnatural to be like, hey, I'm getting hungry. Y'all getting hungry? And if they say no, I'll be like, all right, I'll suffer. Or like, well, I'm getting hungry. Let's stop here. Or can we find a place, in the next like 30 minutes or so?
Exactly. And I think that's telltale right there. Like, I'm not gonna say this is open close, but this story, one, there's missing context. I wonder what the conclusion that the original conversation was, and two, this just proves that you can go in all three different directions. Not the asshole, everyone sucks, an asshole, because there's points that make it like, okay, yeah, not the asshole because, hey, you're driving, you know, but also you're an asshole because it feels like you definitely didn't tell them and they were in the understanding that you were going to be planning this.
Yeah, you're just
like,
being petty at that point.
Yeah.
And there's no room in this world for pettiness. So
correct.
At least in this scenario.
Yeah, it's pretty lousy.
Yep. But any final thoughts on this one, or are we want
to? No. I think I'm gonna stick to asshole, and but I could definitely lean everyone sucks, but I could also lean not the asshole because of that point too. Yeah. I think this is a good clean cut across the board. Everyone has a good opinion here. One of the rare times we actually see Redditors with good opinions.
Imagine.
But I will say I'm definitely gonna stick asshole just because I feel like I still want that conclusion. So
yeah, I'm still gonna stay everyone sucks just because everyone's definitely being shitty here. So
for sure.
That's just me. But
next,
moving on.
All right. Would I be the asshole for canceling a road trip only 6 hours before we were meant to leave? Update post here. So we'll read that in a moment. Yep. That'll be interesting. Ooh. So two of my friends, Kate and Mouse, wanted to go on a road trip. Kate's ex, friends with benefit, roommate, Z, had an idea to go to Michigan because there was somewhere he wanted to go. I'm not entirely sure when it was decided he was coming with, as Mouse and I aren't the most comfortable around Z, but it was his idea to go there, so okay. The plan was to take my car and drive the 6-ish hours there, get 2 hotel rooms and spend the night, drive back the next day, and all 4 of us would split fuel costs. Mouse and I have our license and Kate has her permit, so 3 of us could drive if needed. Well, Mouse got COVID, so the plan was changed to a day trip and we'd bring Mouse some other time. It also started to snow, so we were taking a truck that only I am able to drive. Now less than 12 hours before we're supposed to go, I've been told that I won't even be allowed to enter the place Z and Kate want to go because I'm not 21 yet. Kate said if I wanted anything, I could just get her the money to buy it for me, but there's no other planned stops, and if I'm just supposed to sit in the vehicle the whole time, it really feels like I'm playing taxi because they have no one else to ask. Kate has a car that isn't insured and neither of them have a license. No, you're not a fucking asshole. I'm not a 12-hour round trip taxi. Eat my ass.
No, 12. That's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. 6 hours there. Wait, hang on. Did they say?
Drive
no, it was just 6 hours beforehand.
6 hours
Hold on.
there, get 2 hotel rooms and spend the night, drive back the next day.
Yeah. 6-ish hours there. So 12 to 13 hours round trip for you to be a taxi in a snowstorm.
Fuck that. No.
I'm gonna bring, I don't know if we ever talked about this on this show, but once upon a time, you and I took a road trip out to Indiana to go see some friends. Yep. And on the way back, which that was a 10-hour drive one way. That was shitty because we hit Dayton, Ohio. And no, actually forget that. We hit 3 different snowstorms on the way back.
Yeah.
3.
And Dayton, Ohio. That's 4
and
different
Dayton,
things.
Ohio.
Yeah.
Some might say it's actually worse.
By the way, fuck Dayton, Ohio.
Yes.
No offense to the people that live there, but fuck you. So.
Yeah, I've seen some shitty traffic.
Dayton,
y'all have no regard for good life. Like
to this day is the worst I've ever seen. Yeah.
So 3 snowstorms. You were hungover. You were sick hungover.
It was my 21st birthday.
You couldn't drive.
For reference.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yes. And I had to drive the whole way. No. I feel for this person. OP, not the asshole. Yeah. Fuck that.
He could drive. He could drink too. He's older than me by 2 months, so he had fun.
Yes,
but not as much as I did.
Yeah, no, I definitely realized we were leaving the next day, and I was like, I need to be prepared because homie's going hard in the paint.
Yeah. Yep. I raced him.
You did
on foot.
We need to talk
driving.
about that.
Yeah.
We need to talk about that on the show one day.
I think we had mentioned. Didn't we talk about our 21st birthdays at one point on here? I think we did. I'm pretty sure we did. Well,
Have
we'll
we
go
done
back
that
and-
many episodes where we forgot it? Is the
So
question.
we're over 100 at this point. So
True.
yeah, which we actually forgot to bring up in the moving episode. So our last in studio episode for the podcast was our 100th overall video uploaded,
Put
which
on the
is
channel, yeah.
crazy. So
Yep.
shout out to y'all for continuing to come back.
Riding with us.
But anyway, yeah, this person's not an asshole at all. They're like, fuck everything that they're getting put through.
Yeah, and honestly, the first comment says everything you need.
Yeah,
Not
by
the
the way,
asshole. Fuck
yeah.
that noise.
And everybody else said the same thing, not the asshole.
Yeah, not the asshole. Sorry. This got me fired up. I do want to read the update real quick.
Yeah, let's read that update real quick.
Yeah. So, an update to my previous Am I the Asshole post. So, as many of you guessed, Kate and Z wanted to go to a dispensary. Interesting. Okay. This wasn't something I was told originally. I found out later that their plan was to not tell me, at least until we got into Michigan. Z mentioning the age requirement, however, ruined that little surprise. After finding out, how long are you hanging out at a dispensary? What? Like, are you just sitting there getting gas, bro? Like,
I mean, I feel like I'd risk the misdemeanor to not have to drive 6 hours, you know?
Honestly, yes.
But maybe
After
that's just
finding
me.
out oh, dude, no, I'm with you 100%. I'd risk it. Risk it for the biscuit, because I'm not sitting in the car the whole time in a snowstorm. After finding out the age requirement, I texted Kate asking why I was even going, explaining that I felt that like a taxi service. She was at work at the time, so asked to meet up afterwards to talk in person. That went downhill quickly. I'm waiting outside my apartment building for her when she walks up and immediately tried saying that Z wasn't a problem and that this is our problem without even hearing me out. Then she said she thought I knew I would have to sit in the car, which was stupid because when I agreed to the trip, I was told that they wanted to go to some cafe in the Up. This made... Do what?
It's in Michigan. That's the Upper Peninsula part of Michigan. So,
okay. I did not know that. This is when it came out that the cafe they wanted to visit is the Cannabis Lupus Cafe. She also said I needed to spend more time trying to get to know Z if I wanted to be his friend, which is ridiculous given I've tried getting to know him more than once since we first met the dude years ago. She talked a lot before I got the chance to speak. And when I did speak, I kind of snapped. I asked her what kind of friend would try to con me into committing a crime like this one. I do smoke weed, but I'd never knowingly agree to smuggle drugs across state. I also asked how she would feel if I had pulled the same stunt with my ex, Wes, who she hates, which she didn't like. I ended up raising my voice saying I wasn't attacking, that everyone else I know has told me before that she's just using me. I told her I would never go anywhere with her again, and I went back into my apartment. I texted Mouse and told her what happened. We have a trip planned for my 21st birthday in spring. Kate tried messaging me on a few different platforms, but I finally blocked her on everything. I am so grateful for her for all the comments I got on my post because it helped me stand up for myself and saved me from a long drive during a snowstorm and a couple of fake friends. That is a victory.
That's a dub. Yep.
That's a huge dub.
It's always a shitty situation to go through to have to kind of break up with friends like that. But at the end of the day, you grow and you learn a lot about yourself. And so like it's kind of a necessary evil, I guess you could say, you know, so but I think at the end of the day, they've learned a lot about themselves and they learned that they can stand up for themselves. So I think that's a huge W. So
I think I think that overall I think that's massive that they were able to stand up for themselves like that. I think that the point here is you caught it before it was bad.
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad you caught it before you made that trip. I'm glad you caught it before you got stuck in a situation you didn't want to be in.
Yep.
Like that in and of itself is massive. But I need to check one thing before we continue here because, you know, what's a lousy show without some lousy?
Yep. Yeah, we can't do the normal lean back to look at our cell phones because we're no longer recording on cell phones, thankfully. So
this is correct. Let me see here. Cool. Okay. Sick.
Everything good?
Awesome. Yeah, I was just making sure. Just making sure that everything is all hunky dory.
Cool.
No, I think again, like I said, I'm glad that they caught this before it got too bad. I'm glad that they caught this before it. Well, not necessarily before it got too bad, but before they made a mistake, a very long distance mistake.
Yeah, that's a big one. Especially like, and it could have been way worse. Like if they ended up getting checked across state lines, like that's felony.
Just
territory
imagine,
there. Like,
yeah, just imagine, like, because you know good and well, especially if they're going to a dispensary, like they're going to spark up on the way back. There's no way you're making a 6-hour drive. Yeah, and if they roll past one wrong person, whoop whoop, and guess what? Now all of a sudden the red and blue's behind you, and you got to figure out, sorry, officer, I didn't get this in a different state. It's crazy. Oh, y'all don't legalize it here? Oh, those are fancy bracelets. That's kind of weird. You know, like, which, I mean, granted, I think we both agree, like, you know, we can get into the marijuana discussion later, but I think it's BS. But hey, you know,
well, they did supposedly recently deschedule it, so like it should be at least a lot less of a thing. Yeah. So
yeah,
big dubs there.
But back to the topic at hand. Not the asshole.
Not the asshole.
Everyone said not the asshole. The comments, I mean, like I said, the first one says everything, not the asshole.
I don't think there's going to be a single person that says, yeah, you'd be an asshole, you motherfucker. Like, you know, like it's.
Yeah, I'm scrolling through right now. Someone said not the asshole. I'd already have canceled and maybe bought myself a whole cake to eat in bed alone while watching TV. That's honestly fair. I respect that. I respect that entirely. Yeah. All right, moving on.
It's pretty open shut.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
This actually has context.
Yeah, right? It's crazy what happens when you have context. All right, next up. Yeah. Am I the asshole if I take my 2 dogs and go on a road trip without my boyfriend? I was given the unique opportunity to take a paid 2-week vacation and had asked my boyfriend way ahead of time to take time off from work so that we could road trip somewhere. Since I have a good paying job, have stock that just vested that I could sell to have an extra couple grand, I happily offered to pay for everything. Well, he didn't take the time off work and is asking to settle for a local camping spot. I was trying to plan for a trip to Yellowstone for a week, but he avoided any planning and didn't take time off. I asked that he get his shifts covered. He still hasn't. I returned to work this Saturday and I'm feeling like I wasted my 2 weeks off. So would I be an asshole for just going on a road trip by myself with our 2 dogs? Update.
Don't read the update yet.
Okay, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll read that in a moment.
So TLDR has 2 weeks off, just got vested so she could sell some stock to bring the boyfriend and pay for everything. Boyfriend was not proactive in taking time off, and basically OP has wasted a good chunk of their 2 weeks off just waiting.
Yeah,
that's a tough one. I don't think they'd be an asshole necessarily, but I would need more context to say for certain. Like how serious are they, et cetera.
Yeah, I'm gonna say not the asshole.
Yeah.
Only on the grounds that it for me it appears it was pretty clear, like, hey, this is what's happening. I need you to like be prepared. I need you to get stuff done. I need you to do this and this and this and this and this. Like, I need you to actually, you know, take time off. Like, in reality, from what I'm seeing here, all they actually asked was, hey, take 2 weeks off.
Yeah. I don't think they even
or
said 2
even
weeks.
A week.
Yeah.
I think it was just actually a few days.
Please request some time off.
Yeah, please request time off. And boyfriend didn't.
Yep.
Sorry, not the asshole. Like, if you take a road trip to spend time, time off, there's nothing wrong with that. The fact that boyfriend didn't respect that time off that you got, even when you were getting ready to pay for an entire vacation, I just don't see where you're an asshole here. Like,
yeah. I mean, they checked all the boxes of trying to be proactive with it and saying, hey, this is what I'd like to do. Can we get this going? You know, hey, put in some time off. All right, hey, time's here. You didn't take the time off. Can you at least get your shifts covered?
Yeah.
And just dude didn't do anything, which that's a bit unfortunate. Bit of a red flag there as well. So hopefully,
yeah. I'm going to say not the asshole.
Yeah, not the asshole.
Go ahead and read the update, though, because
so
the update is going to provide us some great context.
Yeah. Obligatory, I didn't expect this to blow up, but I figure I'll give you a happy ending. I ended up booking the trip, but to a closer national park, since some of you mentioned Rhodes and Yellowstone were closed. I told him he can come if he wants, but I'm going with or without him. He managed to tag along and get those shifts covered. I want to address a couple things that I was getting shipped for. One, the dogs are mine. I said ours because we share lives together, but I bought/rescued both of them before meeting him. Two, yes, I am clearly aware that there's a global pandemic. I'm happy to report during the road trip here, I managed to come into contact with nobody because I paid gas at the pump, brought food from home, and I am camping. And three, we're both essential workers with job security. He's not on the verge of losing his job. I don't know why they spaced it out like that, but whatever. We're both very fortunate to have kept our jobs and to have continued working 40 plus hours a week since the start of the pandemic. If you couldn't tell, this was posted around the pandemic. Lastly, thank you. 2020. Yep. Lastly, thank you all for persuading me to take the leap. I am having the most marvelous time, and I'm most excited that I'm not too much of an asshole. Love you all and stay safe. Which, kind of based off that context, everybody else said not the asshole in this scenario. So, yeah, I mean, I don't really see where they're an asshole. Honestly,
I'm just happy that he finally like woke up and said, okay, I'll take a few days off. Like,
at least it has a happy ending.
Especially knowing the time frame.
Yeah. Especially then. Yeah.
Like that is a very important context that I think a lot of people wouldn't catch on to, is like when you look at, because let's just assume it says 4 years ago. Let's just assume, no, we don't even have to assume. COVID started March of 2020 and it's May 19th recording this. So that's 2 months of global pandemic, and everyone going nuts. Like,
yeah, if I remember, May was when like things really started. Like they were like, hey,
everything
lock this
shut
shit
down.
Yeah. Because I remember I bought a truck in March of 2020, actually through Carvana at the time. And the guy came to drop it off. And I was like, I don't know what you're comfortable with. You want to shake hands? And he was like, yeah, fuck it. Let's just shake hands. And so, we were being a little weird, but, that's just kind of how things were at the time. Hello?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm coming back. There we go.
Yeah.
Discord doesn't like us.
I'm very glad we're not using Discord to record. That's why I decided to do
that's 100%, very much one of the main reasons why.
Yeah. Well, fun fact, we used to record with Discord on an old show that we were on, and that didn't work out very well.
No. But no, I'm thankful that in this story we definitely saw it turn out to be a good thing.
Yep.
Knowing that everything was shut down at the time, it's kind of crazy to know what was happening. But all in all, like, hey, this turned out to be a W. I think overall, like, OP definitely standing their ground and going, like, hey, I'm going with or without you. You've wasted my time here, so I'm doing this because I need this vacation.
Yeah,
that's huge. Like, you need to do that in order to like really put your foot down. Like, that's good, clear, honest. And
communication.
Damn.
Fuck you. Look at me.
I'm not looking at you.
I am the captain now.
I am the captain
now. Anyway, let's read a couple comments.
Yep.
First one, not the asshole. Do it. Also ask yourself why your boyfriend doesn't seem to care about what you want. We don't have to go that deep.
Yeah, this isn't that deep.
This is classic Reddit right here. This is like, all right, here's the surface level problem. Let's dive deep.
That's the same. Reddit has a horrible, and I'm gonna say this too. Some of y'all out there who be commenting, you Reddit YouTubers, y'all get wild too. There are times when y'all deep dive our comments and y'all are saying some shit that's like, here's a surface level event, and then we're gonna go Titanic level deep. Like
Contrarian to the consensus. Ooh.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, we don't have to go that deep. I don't think this is like a, hey, you need to talk to your boyfriend about why you should break up with him if he doesn't listen. Like, no, knowing the context of the time. I mean, he probably was trying to understand what was happening with his job too, and was probably worried about taking that time off. But at the same time, like, let's be real here for a second. For all of us essential workers who still had to work at that time, how many of us took advantage of the fact that we were working from home and no one could fucking see us anymore? Like, what I mean by that is,
I wouldn't know.
Oh, that's right. You still had to work in house.
I was.
You were in the store.
Like, not necessarily the front lines, because that's nurses and doctors. I'm not going to say that. I was a retail store worker in telecom.
Essential worker.
But it was in telecom, right? So it had to be, I had to be there. But so we didn't have the virtual work from home stuff. But what we did have is they closed every other store except for ours and another one temporarily.
Yeah.
And so all those staff still had to work. And so basically we rotated work a week, off a week paid, work a week, off a week paid. So it was noise. I would love for a pandemic to come back. Not going to lie. I don't want anybody to die. I just want the pandemic part.
Dude, like,
I just want the pandemic part. I just want a little bit of a scare, a little bit of a butthole pucker, not so much anything else, you know. No.
All right. Anyways, moving on.
No,
I will say I definitely took advantage of the pandemic a little bit, because working from home, and I mean, you know where I was living at the time too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, if I didn't have anything to do, I would just take my laptop with me for work and sit outside and just put it on loudspeaker and then go like work in the garage or like go do other stuff. If I didn't have projects, I was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like,
well, we had a very interesting system that lasted for basically 2 years. And that was, they called it MUE. I can't remember what it stands for, but basically it was, if you have any symptoms, 3 days out paid immedially. You're just like, I'm coughing a bit. Oh, get out of here. All right. Roger that. So, which they
I will say I didn't have a actual like COVID like plan, like, because where I worked, being that we were working from home, like if you got sick, you had to use sick time. They didn't give a fuck.
Yeah. Like,
they were like, oh, you got COVID?
Sucks to suck.
That sucks, bro. Like, you clocking in today, right? Like, because you got a sick time.
The downside to work from home is don't matter.
Well, no, because the company I work for now, their COVID policy didn't end until the middle of 2023.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I ended up getting COVID, if you remember, in 2022.
Yeah.
And when I got COVID, they legit were like, okay, like, have you officially gotten tested? And I went, yes. They went, and it came back positive. And I went, yes. And they said, how many tests have you taken? And I was like, I think 3 at that point, just to confirm. And they said, all right, so you for sure have COVID. Take time off. And I was like, thank you. And
the fuck was that?
That was thunder, bro.
Oh shit, I heard that.
It killed my monitor for a second. Like,
all right, let's hurry up. Let's wrap this up before their power goes down.
Yeah, dude. Holy shit. That was nuts.
Sucks.
Yeah, no, but like they to conclude that they were like, yeah, take the time you need. And I was out for like, I think a week and a half, and they legit were like, all right, yep, you're good. Like, you're paid. Done.
Hell
so
yeah.
that was a plus.
Nice.
Moving on before we lose power.
Yeah, last but not least. Go ahead, buddy.
All right. Am I the asshole for telling... Make sure recording's still going. Yes. Am I the asshole for telling my sister-in-law and brother that she wasn't invited on a road trip due to her not driving and anxiety? Very odd title. Here we go. I invited my sister and mother on a girls' road trip, but excluded my sister-in-law due to her not driving. I have 3 brothers, and my oldest brother is the only one that is married. Let's call my sister-in-law Jenny. Jenny is overall fine. We don't have much in common, but she hasn't given anyone any problems. Jenny doesn't drive due to her anxiety. This was explained to us by our brother before we met her, and to be kind. Just being in the car makes her jittery. She gets really anxious easily and has stepped out of the events before. This hasn't been an issue. Usually she will just leave with my brother, calm down, and come back to the event. We only had one case of another family member needing to pick her up since she can't drive. I wanted to go on the road trip across the USA. It's a ton of driving, even if we are only hitting one of the coasts. This means a lot of driving and stuck in the car. We made a driving schedule to make it easier so not one person is driving all the time. Due to all these factors, we didn't invite Jenny. She can't help driving, and we don't eat to be in a car with someone that is stressed, anxious for hours. I'm assuming it says, it's supposed to say we don't need to be in a car
or want
with someone that is, or want
like,
that
we
also
don't want to be in a car with someone that is stressed / anxious for hours on it. Either one, honestly, would be
Either
totally
one.
viable. Yeah.
Yep. In the big group chat, I sent out a text that I won't be able to go to a family event due to the trip. I get a call from my brother, and he asked why his wife wasn't invited, and I explained the above reason. He told her, and now both of them are pissed at me. Am I the asshole? My mom and sister think this is stupid, and their words not going to invite someone who clearly would be miserable stuck in the car.
I kind of have to agree with OP. Like, I mean, maybe at least extend the invitation to feel included. Maybe. But at the end of the day, if they've made it known multiple times, like, hey, she can't drive, she can't be in a car because of her anxiety, then why would you even bother inviting somebody on a fucking 20 probably hour road trip?
Yeah, and also I want to say this too. Like, let's keep in mind here, let's not downplay the fact that that sister-in-law has anxiety of being in a car, because we take for granted being in a vehicle. But what people don't remember is you are in a speeding metal death trap. And at any given moment, if someone decides that they're having a bad day.
Well, it's not even that. Like, you're in a speeding metal death trap surrounded by other speeding metal death traps. Like, there's a lot of shit that can go wrong. The fact that we are in a society that works is already a miracle in and of itself, right?
Yes. and like, take none of that for granted. Like, this is one of those moments where you have to understand, like, it's oh, good God, it's okay. It's thundering again. Yeah, right. It's okay. It's okay for the guys. It is okay for her to be right. It's okay for her to be actually anxious about this.
Yeah.
But it's also okay for OP to go, I'm not inviting her, because it would be a detriment to her, and it'd be a detriment to our trip that we're all trying to take and have a good time. We're trying to be, we're trying to enjoy it. She's not going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
If you know up front, which she gave plenty of context, if you know up front that she is not going to enjoy herself, that she is going to be anxious the entire time, no. Simple as that.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm going to say not the asshole.
Yeah, I got to agree. I mean, especially like even beyond all of that, right? Let's just focus on a single point, that it was her sister. Well, I'm assuming her, because it's a girls trip. So yeah, her sister and her mom. So all direct family. No offense to in-laws, but that's them three going together on a little girls trip. Like, that's direct family. Sure, you might invite an in-law on something like that in the future, but in this scenario, like you don't necessarily have to. So like I think even beyond the anxiety stuff, you can have, a mother-daughter trip, I guess you can say, right? So I don't think there's any world where they're an asshole. Like I said, the only like maybe little tiny inkling of it is you can at least invite her just to say you did, right? Yeah. But I don't think that's really necessary in this context. So yeah, not the asshole for me either.
Yeah, and everyone else says and agrees, not the asshole. I don't see a world where anybody would say that they're an asshole. But let's see what these comments say. First up, not the asshole. I get that sister-in-law is upset about feeling left out, but she needs to be realistic. First, your relationship with her is different than it is with your mother and sister. That's not a negative towards sister-in-law. It's just a fact. Second, as you mentioned, exactly to your point. Second, as you mentioned, she doesn't drive and is obviously uncomfortable in cars. A road trip is not the place for her. To my point.
Seems super fair. Yeah.
Yeah. Third, space inside the car is at a premium on a road trip. An extra person plus luggage is a huge change.
Yeah.
Very true. Fourth, even if we ignore everything above, there's nothing wrong with not inviting someone on a trip. Sometimes other people do things without us. That's a fact of life. I will say this seems more like a brother issue than a sister-in-law issue, though. Sister-in-law probably wouldn't have as much of an issue if brother didn't stick his nose where it didn't belong. And that's a very valid fact.
Yeah.
It sounds like, and to that point, it actually does sound like brother is trying to stir the shit pot where the shit pot doesn't need to be stirred. Like, just because your sister didn't invite your wife doesn't mean that they hate each other. It just means your sister wanted to go on a trip, planned and understood by her and who all's going on that trip. Simple.
And who shits in a pot? No, I'm just kidding. Let's see. Next one. Well, you could invite her on the condition that if she starts to be jittery, as you put it, and the trip or just being in the car for too long on a road trip is too much for her, you will not be altering plans, which she seems unsuitable for anyway. You will not be altering plans for her except to divert to the nearest airport of decent size, where you will set her on the curb with her baggage to find her own ticket home. Not the asshole. This is a road trip for adults of like mind, interests, and ability. If it is too much for your sister-in-law, she should not press to go. If she insists and you cave, this is on her. That's a bit of a little tough on that one, but honestly, very valid.
Yeah, aggressive, but valid. I've said this before, I love the tags that people get in Am I the Asshole?
Yeah.
This one's Prime Ministered.
It's turd.
Turd.
With a D at the end.
No, I'm with this though. Like as aggressive it is, it's like, yeah, you got to think like, what's going to happen if you take her? All right, she starts to freak out. Okay. We're finding an airport and sending you home because we're not going to spend the next day like in this car with you freaking out. Just not happening.
Yeah. I'm scrolling through. There's nobody that's saying asshole or even thinking about it. It's all not the asshole.
This one hits me a little close to home. Not the asshole. It's like taking an arachnophobe to a spider petting zoo. No, thank you.
By the way, Joe has arachnophobia, so.
I do. I hate spiders.
Send pet spiders to the P.O. box listed below. No, I'm just kidding.
I will cry.
Fortunately, you don't have a P.O. box up there yet. So
yeah. Now I'm not getting one.
But once he does, I'm gonna post it. Send the spiders.
Christ. But I think those are all pretty solid. I think we all made good points. I think everyone else made good points. I don't see a world where, especially that last one, I don't see a world where anybody could say asshole. Just because it's, and at first comment made a very valid point. It's just, we're in a world where sometimes people just don't invite you on trips.
Yep.
That's really all it needs to boil down to. Like everything else we said, yeah, it's valid, but it doesn't need to even be said. It just comes down to sometimes you're not invited. It doesn't mean they hate you. Doesn't mean they like you any less. That's it. So let us know what you think in the comments. As always, we love reading them. Were we contrarian with our mail takes? Let us know. But we do appreciate all of you commenting out there. All those lousy comments are always fantastic to read. So let us hear them. And while you're there, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We greatly appreciate it. We're rapidly approaching 1,000 and help us blow this thing up. We'd love to make this like a full-time job.
So close.
Oh, so close.
So close.
Help us, help you, help us.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
If you don't think about it.
We'll see you in the next one. Later.
Later.